Hey everyone, Laurel here, Minnesota Zone 5A. Just going to do a little early / mid-August garden tour here because things are looking really nice and we have some beautiful weather. Humidity went down this week to back in the normal range, like maybe 50%, and then it cooled down, like it's staying in the 70s. So it is warm in the sun. I'm wearing shorts and a tank top, but man, and we've got some breezes. Nice cool front coming from Canada. I'm loving it. And things are really looking nice right now. Limelight Prime Hydrangea looking good. It is a little bit thin. Oh, there's the kitten. Sorry, kitten. I didn't mean to scare you. I've been seeing the kittens from the mama cat around. There must be hunting. I've been putting out food and water for them too. Trying to get them to trust me. Since they're so young, they're pretty little. This one is the gray tabby hiding there behind the coleus. Oh, hello. Hello, cutie. There's a few calico ones as well. Anyway, they're skittish of people. So, Limelight Prime Hydrangea, planted in the fall 2 summers ago, 2 years ago, I guess. So last year was its first full year in the ground. This summer, early July, or maybe it was late June, I transplanted it and I had to move it about 2 feet over because it was too close to everything where I had planted it, and I wanted to plant this juniper, which I have, kind of behind where the kitten's hiding, that Troutman blue juniper. This thing grew like crazy though from where I pruned it, like really long stems this year. All my hydrangeas did that with all the rain we had. Holy cow, it's been one of the rainiest summers on record. But defoliated. Keep forgetting to change the memory card. So I ran out of space, but now we're back. Hopefully this one will be good. Defoliated a little bit in the middle, I think just because of transplant shock, but they're such tough plants. It's doing great. And we've gotten a lot of rain, so it should be healthy. Hopefully next summer I'll prune it back real hard, and then it's good to go from here on out. I did plant, I got a few more coleus on sale. The kitten's still hiding down there. Gosh, they're so stinking cute. So I planted 2 of the lime thyme. I have 2 of the variegated ones are Golden Dreams coleus, and then 1 of the Sedona Sunset, the red one. And then I also got another for only $3, another of these salvia, the rock and play in the blue salvia. The one kind of was a little bit slow to take off, and I was hoping it'd be fuller by now, so I decided to pop 2 of them in there. I should deadhead these blooms. These will look a lot tidier, but these are the Sweet Tea Heucherella, one of my favorites. Then we've got a self-seeded salvia in there. That hosta bloom just looks really gorgeous, and they smell so good, especially in the evening. Man, they put out a good fragrance on those hostas. That one I don't know the variety name, unfortunately. I should probably do another trimming of the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta down here. They kind of split open. This is a Tor Birchleaf Spirea. It is defoliating in the middle a little bit. All those yellowed leaves with brown spots, that is fungal disease. The birchleaf spirea are prone to that. So I'll give it a really hard prune again in the fall and go through and prune out all the little twigs from the middle. So I won't get blooms next year, but hopefully that'll help with that helped last year anyway with the fungal disease. These opening act phlox are just champs. I mean, this just keeps blooming and blooming. I want to say this one is Sweet Romance. I got a bunch of them at Home Depot at the end of the summer last year for 50% off, like the big cans. So I love these. I want to plant them some more places. This is the dwarf goldenrod or solidago, just been covered with bees, starting to open. Love that just sunny yellow color there. I do have supports this year. They do split open, so I put some of those like ring supports on them early in the spring or the summer when they were sprouting. We've got a couple of Sunseeker salmon echinacea down here. Those were just planted in the fall. And so in the meantime, to fill in, I planted some annuals. We've got this one is rebounding. That is a Plectranthus guacamole. We've got the unplugged So Blue Salvia, I think it's called, and atomic purple Gomphrena. That one was new to me this year. I grew from seed. Unplugged So Blue, of course, is proven winner, so don't grow that from seed. The peach drift rose is putting on second full flush of blooms. And I have seen some Japanese beetles, like there's one right there, just being naughty, enjoying that. But they haven't really been attacking this, thankfully. I know they love roses, and they can find a favorite plant and just go crazy on it. So they haven't seemed as bad this year as in previous years. Don't know why, but I'll take it. The Weigela is, this is Crimson Kisses Weigela. It does its first full bloom early in the summer in June, and sometimes rebloom. So I'm getting a few little reblooming flowers on here. I did cut back this Noblessa Yarrow. I went, a lot of the blooms were aged and all brown, so I just kind of went and hacked it. You do not have to be careful. It sprouts all over the place, new blooms. So that'll fill out. That also gave this self-seeded echinacea here a little bit more space. Clearly been crowded out a bit. And this Night Ember sedum. The little lime hydrangea is just huge. It's like 6 feet tall this year. So that's doing well. I think that's about its full size, hopefully. Prune that hard again next year. South Seas daylilies are pretty much done. There's just maybe 2 or 3 blooms left that'll open. So I've been cutting back hard and pulling out all the dead stems, and just to attempt to keep the foliage looking nicer. They will flush some fresh foliage, but now it's like hide the foliage. Daylily blooms are over. But the other Night Ember sedum is looking great. And Anna's Magic Ball is really loving the rain this year. Arbovita like a lot of moisture. They're thirsty shrubs, so she's looking nice. This echinacea patch is also doing good. I don't know if they discontinued this variety. It was a Monrovia. Kind of comes out like these orangey colors and then ages to that dark pink. And I can never find it again. I've seen a few that are similar, but who knows? Maybe they renamed it. Maybe they improved it. But what is in full bloom and looks stunning is the Holy Grail, Summerific Holy Grail Hibiscus. This is its second full summer in the ground. This is a trooper too. These love a lot of moisture. So this one I bought for back here. Excuse me. Scratchy throat. Because this soil really it's not well draining. It holds on to moisture quite a lot. So I figured it'd be the perfect spot for something like a grass or a hibiscus. And it's very happy this year. Was not happy last year during the drought, but it still did okay. Still blooms on the Proven Winners Luminary Opalescent Phlox. This one is huge this year, but you can see it did, I think it stressed. The yellow leaves, I think, are stress. Maybe a little bit of mildew. Although I'm not seeing like the classic powdery mildew on it. Maybe if I look close, but that one did not like all the rain so much, but it's still doing great. This is an aster. It was unlabeled. I suspect it's like woods blue or woods purple, something like that. That'll bloom in September and into fall. Really pretty kind of blue-purple blooms. I did plant some sale plants in here. This down here, this is a Shasta daisy that I cut back because it was done blooming. It looks like I might get a couple little baby blooms coming. That's a daisy May. This is, what are those called? Diasia? I've never planted those before, but I bought a few of them on sale just to test them out and see how they do. And they're doing great. These other lime green are 4 o'clocks. These were real slow. These self-seeded here. Normally they do great, but maybe it was just, this area really is just too wet for a lot of things. And then finally the zinnia is opening. That's a dwarf variety. Amethyst, something amethyst. And then this was a clearance plant that I got a while back and didn't know exactly where I wanted to put it. But since these 4 o'clocks aren't really taking off, I threw it in there. Corosmia or something like that. Tropical plant, likes moisture. So perfect. Purple Prince Alternanthera, as always, looks great. Oh, there's not one open on the Mighty Chestnut Daylily. That's a bummer. A few more blooms yet on this one, and then I did plant a few more Fireball. I got a bunch of clearance marigolds. I love marigolds going into fall, and right now you can get 4 packs for like $1 on sale. This area, so the Dahlias just, it was not their year, and this is not the spot. They did fine last year, being a drought year, but the year before that I planted some and they suffered too. It just stays too wet back here. The soil is too heavy. I did put a whole bunch of gypsum down, and I'm going to keep doing compost and leaves every year, and hopefully over time the soil will improve. But I finally called it, and I mean, they weren't getting any bigger than where they were when I planted them, and they just turned yellow. I just left the 3 back there. There's a couple small ones. That one's almost about to bloom, kind of back in the corner. But cosmos are filling in. This azalea is getting more sun. That one's still establishing. And then I went and got like some clearance plants. They were, you know, $5 for this little mandevilla. And then I got a 6-pack of these sun patiens for, it was like $3.50. Crazy, on 75% off. So I popped those in because those are thirsty plants. They like a lot of moisture, so I think they'll be okay. Just things, I mean, the zinnias are doing okay. This is my favorite zinnia that I've ever grown, and I've grown it for many years now. Zahara salmon. Zahara, or maybe it's double salmon, but it's a Zahara salmon, just that bright coral color. And then I popped some more little seedlings of the Carmine Gomphrena in the ground, and I had a few extra Gomphrena that I started from seed. And then I got another one of these because this has done well the past few weeks. This is called Felicia. It's spelled just like the name. Says really tough, likes full sun, can handle drought, so hopefully it's not too wet. So yeah, I love sun patiens. I think they're beautiful and they bloom all summer, but I don't plant them anymore because unfortunately Japanese beetles love them too. They always attack my sun patiens and New Guinea. Well, sun patiens are New Guinean patiens. They're just the sun variety. So, but since the beetles haven't been as bad and it's kind of towards the end of their season, I'm hoping they'll be okay. I think I'll throw a pot back in here too with some sale annuals. I've got some stuff on hand. So, bummer, because normally this is like my cut, quote unquote, cut flower, and I make some bouquets out of this stuff, and it's just been way too damp, too much rain. Gosh, I just love this hibiscus. These blooms are massive. I mean, they really are dinner plate size. And I don't remember if I showed this, probably last time I worked on this. Man, I tuckered myself out that day out here in the heat. But I, again, planted a bunch of clearance marigolds all over the place. These are now blooming a little bit more. I think this is a variety that gets bigger. I don't know what they are. It was like an activity at work. I seeded them. And then these salvia, I might go get a few more packs of these salvia and just pack them in since it's towards the end of the season. Those are all just basic 4-pack varieties. And this is the Tiara Blue Super Tunia, new for next year from Proven Winners. I found that one of them on clearance at a little garden tent. So I thought, ooh, I want to try it. It's doing good. Harvested some lettuce. Peppers are looking better. That streak of heat that we had really helped out quite a bit, and a little bit of a break in the rain. We went for maybe like 6 whole days without rain, and then we got like 2 inches in one day. So anyway, peppers like it hot and dry and sunny, and that is not what it has been this year. So less of a harvest, but still, you know, I have 7 plants, so I'll still get plenty. I don't really eat them green, except for maybe the very end of the season when we're getting a frost. You know, there's not enough time for them to turn red. Then I'll harvest and I'll make stuff with green peppers. But I don't really like unripe peppers. I prefer to let them ripen, so mine are all red or orange this year. Potatoes still going, just waiting for those to die back, then I'll dig those out. About to have a whole bunch of the blooms on these Calliope dark red, I think, geranium. And these are the Americana dark red, a little bit more orangey red versus that one is more of like a cool tone scarlet red. It started blooming. This plant is so vigorous. I'll have to try this next year. I just wasn't impressed by the bloom color this year, but now that it's on clearance, I thought, why the heck not? That's the Superbena Cashmere Pink. A new one, maybe this year or last year. A couple more of the Rock and Play in the Blue Salvia, and then some Red Acre cabbage that I started from seed. Had ready to go where the garlic was. Sage and the rosemary are looking good. This one is I've had that indoors for a couple of years on its like deathbed, and I just popped it out here and it's doing good. I love rosemary. And then I come over here and smell it. It just smells like fall. Of course, you harvest it before frost, and then I'm cooking with my potatoes and my green peppers and my sage and rosemary. Zinnias opened up. We have Sahara double white, and that one might be cherry red. I couldn't remember if it was, oh yeah, that's cherry red. And then I have raspberry ripple over here. That one's like variegated white and pink. That one's like solid pink. I like the Sahara zinnias because they stay really compact, but also really bushy. And then it's Archangel Blue Angelonia in the middle. Oh yeah, I also got a Superbena on clearance, the Superbena red, really red, something like that. So I threw that in there. I do have one orange pepper ripening. These have struggled. They're still real yellow. I've cut enough leaves back of the zucchini now that they're going to get more sun, but even the raised beds stayed more wet than peppers would prefer in this rain. Although they did much better than in-ground wood, I think. They are better draining. This one was newly installed this year too, so it hasn't had a chance. You know, that one I did in the fall, so it had all winter and all of this spring and summer to kind of do its hugelkultur thing or whatever. So probably a little bit better soil, better drainage. Things looking good still over here. Limelight hydrangea with its big white blooms. That's the one that's not taking off as much as the others, but it also gets more shade than any of the others. But I wanted something that gets big here, and I'm just anticipating that at some point the electric company will come through and hack away at these trees to clear the lines. So I gotta have something that can take full sun, and hopefully it would still be big enough to provide a little bit of shade to some of the shade plants I have over here by the time they do that. So still looking good. Stilby's happy. This is a year for Stilby. Ferns. The Heucherella over here and the Brenner over here is not their year. They are suffering. So I don't feel like there's much I can do about that. Just hope they come back next year. This is another little lime hydrangea. Looking so pretty. Comes out with that pretty lime color. And then ages to a little bit more of a whitish lime. And then it ages to like a light pink. Versus the firelights over here. Boy, it was like they turned bright pink in one day. We had a couple of cool nights, and that's what triggers the panicle hydrangeas to turn from white to pink. And I came out here in one day and it was like, pow, pink. So really pretty. They'll keep darkening too over the season and into fall. Get even more pink. Every now and then you'll get a new bloom on a late stem that's white. I need to get in here and trim. Like you can see that one flopped open with all the heavy rain. So I should trim off some of these blooms and put them in a vase and enjoy them indoors. Let the shrub maybe pop up a little bit more. Otherwise, these three geranium are doing really well. These are all of the geranium in this garden bed are Americana salmon. And these three are looking nice and full and lush. This is the Drops of Jupiter Ornamental Oregano. And these four over here are looking a little more puny. So I think maybe drainage isn't as good over on this side of the bed. This one I planted recently. I bought it. There was something else died there, so I pulled that out. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I need to improve drainage or plant more water-loving things along here. And same thing with this Nemesia. It is starting to throw up a few blooms since I cut it back, but like last year, the Nemesia that was here, the same variety, just different color, had just full of blooms all summer. So I think it just stays too wet. The Millennium Allium have started opening. Just beautiful, vibrant purple. They're such a bright pop in the garden. And then they're just covered in pollinators right now. The bumblebees are all over. Even the flies love these. And then this patch of Echinacea is looking good. A lot of it, most of it now at this point is self-seeded from the original ones that I planted. And this Boom Chocolate geranium is still throwing up these blue blooms. It has not stopped blooming all summer. I've cut back some of the bloom stalks because they'll, you know, one bloom stalk will be spent blooms and I'll cut that back, but it just keeps putting out new ones. So I'm really pleased with that. And it has room. I can still expand the edge of this garden bed a little bit to give it space. So hopefully I give it enough room. Another thing that has not liked all the rain is this Dusty Miller down here. Not looking so happy. But after all the drought we had, I just kind of anticipated drought again. Would be great. Here's another one of these Diasia, a pink one. That one looks beautiful. And some snapdragons. The bee balm is all done, but this Helenium is still got its beautiful late summer color. Also full of pollinators. I love that one. That was kind of an impulse purchase. No idea where to plant it, but something else was there and died. So it was meant to be. And then the barberry, golden something barberry behind that. It darkens later in the summer, and it also gets more shade because the sun is lower in the sky. So it gets more shade from the neighbor's trees. This is Chocolate Chip Ajuga. You know, I can step on this and walk on it, and really tough plant. Easy to pull, so fairly easy to control. And then another patch of Echinacea, much of it self-seeded from the original white plants that I had. Man, I need to trim that dogwood again. It is yet again engulfing all my plants down there. My hostas and that Ligularia. And this blue hosta, I think it's Halcyon, but I'm not positive. Look how many blooms are on that thing. That shot up so many bloom stalks. It's just lush. One thing I don't like is how the leaves, when the blooms fall off, I don't like how the leaves on hostas like sort of catch them. And then it looks kind of ratty. I get why people cut the blooms off, but I love them when they're fully in bloom. And usually sometimes I'll go through and like scrape the leaves clean. This Ageratum still just looking great. I'd say, so this is Artist Blue. I've talked about this in other videos. This patch is Artist Blue. I have a single Aguilera Sky Blue and then another patch of Artist Blue. And I've not been able to tell the difference all summer. I'd say they're interchangeable in terms of performance. So if you can't get a hold of the Proven Winners one, try some of the other varieties because that one did great. Oh boy, this, I haven't really looked at this Persian Shield here, but that really took off since last I really noticed it. That's disguising a spot where I had some Forever Purple Heuchera. Looks like one of them is coming back. I don't know if the others will, but I think especially our snowless warm winter was hard on the Heuchera. I think they want more snow cover. Otherwise, everything's looking good. This Blew My Mind Evolvulus is also disguising the hardy geraniums that are struggling. Hardy geraniums are so tough though, so they'll come back. And this Evolvulus obviously will die when it gets cold. And then this is doing really well. It has more. This is Giles Von Hayes Veronica. I originally started with 3 plants, but they spread almost like geranium for me. Like I dug up, they formed a patch and they just always got really bad mildew and they would keep blooming, but they just looked terrible. And there's a little bit of mildew on the leaves, but not really. Look at all the bees, just loving these moths and butterflies. So I just moved them out here early in the spring, see if they would do well with more airflow, and they sure do. And then this is more of that Nemesia. This variety is called Inca. No, Denim Blue Nemesia. The yellow one is Inca. And that one's doing great. I bought these as clearance plants. Sahara. No, not Sahara. Is it Sahara? Caramel Mix, Rudbeckia annuals that I started from seed, looking good. Throwing up a second flush of blooms here. I need to deadhead a little bit more. They're doing well. And this one's done great. This is Plum Pudding Heuchera from Proven Winners. Then my little patch of Virginia. I'm really trying to figure out what exactly I want to do. I think I want to do an evergreen kind of back, maybe roughly where those red coleus are. A tall, skinny one. And then I might do like a shrub, excuse me, like a dwarf hydrangea or something in here. I don't know. And then I'll plant a tree over on this side to replace some of the shade, give me back my shade garden eventually. But we'll think about that over the winter and figure that one out. Yeah, we'll see. These are gosh, these are looking really pretty too. This is the Neon Rose Super Cal, or Petcoa, they're called. It's a cross between a Calibracoa and a Petunia. And then this is the Snowberry White variety. These are two that I've had really good luck with. Petcoa, though, tend to be a little bit easier for me than petunias. You basically treat them the same. They're just always a little less fussy. And then this, wow, this Persian Shield, it's loving its life here. That's incredible. And then this is a rosemary that I tucked in as well. And then these red bronze leaf begonias look really good. And one little white one snuck in. Over here too, another batch of them. And these are really pretty. I should probably have rotated this pot. Now it's all uneven, but oh well. At least it looks pretty from the side you look at it. But those are just bronze leaf begonias. More things looking gorgeous. This is the Cherry Burst Superbena and Supertunia Bermuda Beach. That one is amazing. The improved version of Bermuda Beach is like now my favorite petunia. Regular Supertunia. So everything looking good. This poor hosta though is not liking the increase in sun. It just is real burned. So everything else is doing okay though. Thank goodness for the rain that we had this year. And of course, I've said this before, but it's been really hard to dig because I have so much clay in my soil, and it just, I mean, when it rains every few days, the ground just stays wet all the time. It's a lot harder to dig out sod, but I'll be cutting a proper edge and like curving this garden bed here eventually. Hopefully I can show how I do that, how I dig. There are a few methods I've tried, so. Got the Dichondra Silver Falls there getting caught in the hosta bloom. I should have planted another one of those in the front. Oh well. Live and learn. But this hanging basket's doing great. I love the combination of the Supertunia Latte with the Supertunia Mini Vista Midnight. That purple plays off like the dark throat in the latte really well. And then there's Superbena, what is it called again? Snow Whiteout. And then this one's really cool. This is a lotus vine. Love that texture. This is super drought tolerant too, so it's great for hanging baskets. And Rainbow's End hosta is blooming. Cute little roughly petite blooms. I love the watercolor look of the leaves of this hosta in particular. So doing good. That coast to coast hosta is a little bit burned looking. Maybe that's just how it looks. It's like kind of washed out, so maybe it gets too much sun. I don't know. Eventually it won't though, because these Bobo hydrangeas will get bigger, hopefully, if all goes well. Ugh, I have to get in here and trim all these weeds and volunteers coming through the fence. I just hate doing that. I hate it. I was hoping I could use a machete, but the stems are just too thick, you know? It's like tree saplings coming through. So I have to sit there and pick at them with pruners and loppers, unless I had a giant loppers that could just hack down a patch of them in like one go. Yeah, bulbo hydrangeas, not as full of blooms, but again, I just transplanted them in the fall, so kind of an establishing year, I guess, for them. And then the Golden Delicious salvia with its pretty chartreuse leaves. Still no sign of blooms, and they do say on the plant, like, this is grown for foliage. Unless you live in a warmer climate, you're not going to have time in summer to see it bloom. It does have red blooms, though, but didn't bloom for me last year either. And don't listen to the size it says on the plant tag, because it gets way bigger. This petunia I trimmed back, so it's looking a little bit bare. I also trimmed some of these, still recovering, some of these silver shield plectranthus stems that were growing through it. So I expect that to bounce back in a few weeks, but still putting out these circus looking blooms. Really cool. And the plectranthus is blooming. Guess I didn't anticipate that, because a lot of plectranthus don't bloom. So I'll probably trim that again. Oh God, look how much vegetation's coming through. Ugh. Otherwise, things are looking good. Still have aphids on the honeysuckle, but not as badly infested with bees. And the aphids don't seem quite as bad as last year. So I'm hoping if I keep spraying it, I can just stay on top of it and eventually get rid of them altogether. I need to pull some grass. This area, I just did the basic no dig method, truly no dig method to kill off the grass. Just laid down a thick layer of cardboard and mulch. My friend came over and helped me with it last fall. But things do creep through. Anytime you leave live grass under something, it will pop through. Maybe it's not as bad if you do it in the fall and it stays that way dormant over winter. Under that, then you kind of smother it. You block all the light, but it will still pop through. So I need to get in here and dig this up. But the back and black sedum's looking really pretty. Still. Containers finally getting a few more blooms on the black and blue salvia. Hummingbirds love that one. Definitely not as full of blooms as the Proven Winners blue suede shoes version. Love Rudbeckia, sunny yellow flowers. There was a self-seeded, oh yeah, it's going to bloom here. I don't know if you can see that, but that lime green plant kind of behind the salvia. That is another 4 o'clock that's self-seeded and has found its way into the light. And then this is the Senorita Rosalita Cleome down here, and a bunch of alyssum that seeds itself in this garden every year. This heuchera did well. It's called Zipper. Had that for a number of years. That's a pretty tough one. And I love smelling these blooms when I'm sitting out on the patio in the evening eating dinner. Oh, they're so fragrant. Hence the name, Fragrant Bouquet Hosta. This poor phlox, not doing as good as the other one. Looks like it has some mildew. I wonder if it's getting infected maybe from the other 2 phlox back here. And hopefully that will improve once I am able to move those. Otherwise, I need to trim the dogwood back here yet again. Finally trim the stuff that was coming over the fence into the side yard. But gosh, that thing. Lamb's ears rebounding, looking fresh. Same thing with the Alchemilla mollis. What's it called? Lady's mantle. Oh, I can just smell these hosta blooms. They smell so good. Like walking through jasmine. And I will be splitting all of these next year. Blooms coming up more. These always bloom kind of late August into fall. The Chelone turtlehead, late summer into fall blooming perennial. Also very tough and super drought tolerant. It's kind of part sun. I think it needs some sun, but not full sun, at least in my experience. Come on, bee. I'm trying to film here. Bee, stop. I don't have any food. Got some blooms on the this toucan coral canna that was like an extra from tubers, and then all the calibrachoa down below are filling in. I just love Meizu. It is so pretty, and so like just nothing bothers it other than maybe too much shade. Gorgeous. And then this one's doing really great. This begonia is happy in this spot. That's the Surefire Rose begonia. That's probably the biggest, fullest one I have, and I planted a lot of them this year. So things are doing well. I've got little kitten food and water down there for them. The doublet Love Swept calibrachoa is recovering. Should water that again. That's a lavender, Dichondra Silver Falls, and then another double calibrachoa that I can't remember the name. And I did pick up some more sale stuff, so I think I'm going to pop a pot with this combination in the back where the dahlia tubers were. I think I might just plant all the dahlia tubers in a pot, see if I can maybe get them big enough to overwinter something for next year, or maybe bloom. I don't know. We'll see. The pink area is looking really pretty here, the shade. Yeah, this area. So these dahlias are blooming. This one is Blue Boy. That one I saved. More of a mid-sized dahlia. And then this one is called Golden Scepter. It's like a ball dahlia, which I figured that was when that one sprouted from the ones I saved, because that was the most vigorous, biggest one. And a whole bunch of snapdragons. I need to cut this edge a little bit more. But this area is just looking real lush right now. We've got Carmine Gomphrena that I started from seed, a bunch of different, that's Gingerland, Caladium. I think that one down there is Sizzle. I love it when they sprout, but they take forever and I get impatient. Some geraniums. Looking really full. The Dusty Miller there, a pop of white. I love this. This is one of the other euphorbia. I never really liked Diamond Frost all that much. I did plant it, but I think it kind of just solidified that I don't prefer that one. And I don't remember what this caladium is called, but it's pretty. Kong Red Coleus. I have 3 of them in this little pot with a Meizu. That one probably isn't going to be as happy because it gets more shade. A bunch of begonias. I like how this Lismachia is mingling with everything right now. More Gingerland. This is a Hippo Rose, Hippo Estes plant, polka dot plant. Fiesta Caladium. Showed this last time because it's so pretty, I think. Spicy Lizard Caladium. I don't remember the name of this one. That one I got at Menards. And some sale perennials down there. And you can see, gosh, get away from me, bugs. Here's another look. This one I planted in May. That is again, the Supertunia Bermuda Beach. Doing really well. I've pruned long legs on that one a few times, but still staying really full. And more of the toucan coral canna. Bunch of calibrachoa down here. I really like this planter combination. We've got the Cherry Burst Superbena, Supertunia Royal Magenta, and then the perfectly pink Angel Face Angelonia, I think. I grew this in the back last year and really liked it. I love how big these blooms are and the color of the blooms. They're nice ones. So far, the cherry dropped coleus is not as big or as vigorous as the strawberry drop. So that is interesting and good to know, because the strawberry drop, I haven't planted it often because it gets so huge and takes some maintenance. Like I need to pinch it back again here. But if you want a really vigorous coleus, that's one to get. And this elephant ear is just enormous. It's huge. So pretty. I love elephant ears. The only thing is when they start going brown, they don't look the best, but they always pop out new leaves. That's probably the biggest leaf I have right now. But they're so pretty. And then I love the silvers and blues over here in this section. And I did find Home Depot had 50% off the 1 gallon Proven Winners hostas. I bought one. They had a few varieties, but I didn't have this one. Shadowland Love Story. I like the variegation, kind of paintbrush looking on the leaves of that one. So I had Hudson Bay, something Diamond Mountain, I think, or something like that. I had a few of them. Seducer, at least at the location I was at. Okay. Otherwise, container garden's looking good. I really like the caladium back there. The elephant ear and that caladium combination. This one is also huge leaves. Huge. Caladium. This elephant ear's getting in my way. That one is Red Flash. That is probably the most sun-tolerant caladium there is. So I think I'm going to have to repeat something like that because I really enjoy that whole look. Tropical vibe a little bit. I love how the elephant ears kind of dance in the wind too. I left the shed door open because the kittens are running in and out. I'm sure hunting all the mice and voles that hang out in the garage. Here, this combo's open today. That's the Nano Pizzazz Orange, I think, and Nano Pizzazz Yellow. Ice plant. What's it called? Starts with a P. I did get some more begonias on sale, but this is a little like begonia corner. Another toucan coral canna. But I got these two. There's a yellow and an orange one. They're looking beautiful. And then there's a little fern kind of tucked in there. So we'll see how those do. Love that planter combo. We'll probably do that again next year. It's the Basket Tangelo or the Basket Tangeglow Lantana over Easy Super Bells and the, what's that called? Biden's, what's the Proven Winners Biden's? The yellow, bright yellow Biden's. They're not blooming right now, but there are a few buds. And this phlox has rebounded nicely. This was one still from last fall that I overwintered and also have a spot in mind for that eventually. I love this. This is another guacamole plectranthus. This is probably my favorite little color combination this year are my foliage containers. Foliage minus the little blooms on the canna. But yeah, I like those combinations. So we can go up front and check that out too real quick. Here, I'll just walk. Slowly pulling some of the weeds. And that's the one thing about all this rain is, man, the weeds are just coming up everywhere. Holy smokes. But I've never had an issue with the denim and lace. And this is not denim and lace. Crazy blue Russian sage flopping. But this year it's flopping. Just so much rain. But not flopping badly, like it's not splitting open. And this was like laid out. We got just pouring rain on Monday. Serendipity allium. The foliage is puny, but the blooms are starting to open here. This area can be challenging because it is a rock garden, technically, but you can see it gets a lot of shade, especially later in the summer from this smoke bush tree, which just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I did see a woodpecker. It's lost a lot of leaves, yellowing and dropping. They're kind of all over this year, more so than normal. And then there was a woodpecker kind of flying around and pecking at different areas. So I wonder if it got some kind of insect, has an insect in there. More serendipity allium. This patch of sempervivum looks really cool. I planted that. This was one of the first gardens I planted, so I do not remember the name. But it started out, you know, just a little pot, and it spread out to that. Oh, here it comes. We're going to have some noise here in a sec. Hold, please. That's my neighbor on his scooter. This sedum, it splits open, but then it has these cute little rosettes coming up in the middle every summer. And then the Angelina sedum, I haven't had it do this before, where it gets kind of bare in the middle. But I'm not worried about it. This stuff spreads so easily. So if it doesn't fill in, maybe I can plant something else there. Maybe another serendipity allium. But it's so easy to root, you know, it kind of spreads all over the place. There's another patch over here that got a little bare spot. So, I don't know. Not concerned. Yeah, look at all the leaves that are down on top of the yews. Holy smokes. These planters I will repeat next year. These look so pretty. That's a different kind of Lismachia, trailing Lismachia, with just bronze leaf wax begonias. Pink-white mix. So cute. And they can take full sun or full shade. They definitely get a mix of both here. Solar flare. Heucherella. These have done awesome here. They were struggling in the back where I had them for a couple years because they got too much sun, but here they have been very happy. And then these are big bronze leaf rose begonias. These I find you can pretty much find readily anywhere. So if you really want to try surefire rose and you can't find them, or they're too expensive, just go with these. I literally can't tell the difference if I didn't know what was what, because these are big bronze leaf rose and these are surefire rose over here. I mean, they look exactly the same. Full sun or full shade. Perform equally as far as I'm concerned. Now, the only difference is these are in the ground, obviously, and these are in basically a raised bed. So these probably have better drainage, better soil drainage. So maybe the surefire rose would have gotten even bigger being in this box, but I don't know. I can't tell the difference. And the bronze leaf rose are definitely cheaper. I can usually find multi-packs of those. This Weigela, my Monet purple shades, has got just a little bit of bloom. I say this every time, but I'm just letting that one recover from getting crushed by snow a couple of years ago, last winter. That's why it's so flat looking, but it's recovering. And then I did trim back the beast, this firecracker Lismachia, in preparation for hopefully, well, I wanted to also clear the view to the beautiful, what are those called? Tiny little quickfire, little quickfire hydrangeas back here, because they are looking spectacular. I love the lacy blooms, the natural look of these. That's something I would plant again in the back maybe, because I love the more lacy habit of the blooms. But so I didn't want this Lismachia stealing the show. Some of the blooming stalks I left a little bit longer, but I'll cut them all back pretty far, especially when I go to transplant it. And then I have these bare patches. I have plans for that, but I'm going to wait till so I don't stomp on anything that I plant here as I'm digging this out. I'm just going to wait and do it all in one go. And this hellebore just did awesome this year. It's gotten so big. Love that one. And the Molly's Frost Kiss White. That one was new next to it in the ground there. So I expect next year that one will be bigger. And more of the opening act phlox. This one is Pink Dot. Just keeps blooming. Trim it back, just keeps blooming. One thing that has, I mean, they're looking good, but these Rudbeckia totally got laid out by the rain. And I'm kind of out of stakes to prop them back up. So I'm just going to go with it. But they are cheerful. I did trim back hard. I went around and trimmed all the long edges of this petunia planter, because it is, you can see it is starting to get a little bit bare in the middle, and it was getting pretty leggy, especially in the back. But there's only 3 Super Tunia Mini Vistas in this pot, and look how big they get, just 3 plants. There's Super Tunia Mini Vista Midnight, Mini Vista Midnight, Mini Violet Star, and Mini Vista White. Gorgeous. And then I trimmed back. These are doing better. I'm sure this area is better draining than in back. That's more of the Inca Nemesia. And then the 4 o'clocks are blooming back here. Those I started from seed that I saved for my plants last year. But I love those neon pink blooms on the chartreuse foliage. And then I have a couple Albrighto coleus back in here. And of course the amazing heuchera. I keep forgetting to look up the tag. I just had my binder out today too. But that one, spectacular. I've never seen a purple do that well. Caramel, I knew caramel was good. I didn't know it was this good though. So I would recommend these two. For sure caramel. Once I find the name of that, I will also recommend. And the blue shadow Fothergilla is looking very blue. Very pleased with this. Just planted that last summer. In the rain, all muddy. But I wanted all of these, actually this whole area I planted up when it was raining, but I was just so tired of putting it off. So I just went and did it. And then you can see this limoncello barberry is much darker green. It always ages, as it ages, it kind of darkens the leaves throughout the summer. And this one's really been split open by rain too. This one's getting pretty big though. So I think in the spring next year, I'll give this one a good hard prune. But then one of these balsam self-seeded over here, and I've just left it. Got hollyhocks with terrible rust infection as they get every year. But my friend today will hopefully harvested the dead blooms to make fabric dye. She's very into like textile crafts and natural dyes. I also give her all my marigolds once they die off from frost, and my carrot tops, and she makes beautiful dye colors for yarn out of those. But more of the balsam opened. These are Impatiens balsamina, the original Impatiens. All other Impatiens were bred from these, as far as I know. I think it's very popular in Victorian times. And they get all these. I just started a mix, very easy to start from seed. You can kind of see the seed pods. These aren't ripe yet, but they're really fun. They're fun for kids. They're these little fuzzy pods. And when they're ready, you just touch them and they explode and like scatter seeds everywhere, which is why this plant readily seeds all over the place. So it will take, if you don't want it, it will take you years to eradicate it. However, they are extremely easy to pull out. They do not have deep roots. And even the seedlings are these little chunky things. So I find it very easy to thin them every year. But I'm sure you would have to do that if you wanted to get rid of them entirely. You'd have to do that for several years. I love, I will always plant this red cabbage here. This is more red acre. I planted this earlier in the year, in the spring. I just love the look, like that bold foliage and that blue iridescent leaves. They're just so pretty. It's so easy to find and easy to grow from seed and low maintenance. Win, win, win. Some of this salvia is blooming, and I got some blooms coming up on the zinnia. I should probably stake that up. More hollyhocks back there. I did cut out a little bit extra here. I mean, eventually I'm going to take this all over and have like a little path, and it's just time and effort. But I planted the two echinacea that I had overwintered from last fall. So there's one here, and this one was really suffering. So I was out here in the blasting heat. At least I was able to get out here before I lost my shade. Last week or the week before, I don't remember, it was so hot out. I was just sweating bullets. Just to cut this out more and get that done. But the overdam grass just does fantastic. That's Calamagrostis overdam. Those are just been in the ground a couple years now. They can take part shade. So I planted some of these in the middle because so far they've stayed very neat. Like their habit is very tidy. And then I have foxgloves that I let self-seed and some Leotris. I don't think that's kobold. I think that's, I had just bought, you can find Leotris corms for very inexpensive usually. and you just like a little bulb that you plant in the spring, or really you can plant it anytime, but they're native to the Midwest, to the plains. And I hacked back the dogwood pretty hard, so I needed to give these plants more sun, so that will help. And I also have I keep forgetting that I planted a little clematis on the fence there, and that just gets completely shaded out by the dogwood. So we'll see how that does. But anyway, I think that is it, as if that isn't long enough. Just some updates. Man, this weather is absolutely beautiful. Oh, I wish it would just be like this the rest of summer. So nice out. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe.